Well, it's weird, isn't it? You come back and everything's sort of different.
I suggest you get on your way.
This Cornetto trilogy started with Shaun of the Dead, continued with Hot Fuzz, and then now concludes with The World's End, and it kind of circles back around again and how the guys have needed to grow up. Can you talk a bit about that and the differences?
Yeah, I think sort of like it didn't start as a trilogy. We didn't like have some kind of grand plan when we made Shaun of the Dead. But after we made Hot Fuzz, and there were sort of loosely connecting kind of elements in that, then we thought, oh, if we did a third one, maybe we can wrap up themes from both of the movies and make it like sort of like a very loose trilogy, like a thematic trilogy. So like they're all standalone movies, and you don't have to have seen Shaun or Hot Fuzz to enjoy The World's End. But you know, it was sort of when we had the idea for the story, we thought, okay, maybe we can actually make a final statement on some of these things. So like we sort of wanted to make our sort of final statement on perpetual adolescence, and like a film about growing up and like the idea of the individual versus the collective. So all of these themes that are there in the other movies, we wanted to kind of like sort of, you know, wrap up and end with a bang.
And what was the inspiration for this one? Was Invasion of the Body Snatchers one of the...
Well, it came more from like sort of like, you know, almost like a sort of a... In a way, the sci-fi element comes from like a manifestation of the fear, in a way. It's about like sort of 5 guys, 4 of whom are adults and 1 of whom who wants to be 18 again. And so, you know, because it's a film about like growing up or the refusal to grow up, like the alien element represents like the fear of like sort of that loss of identity, like sort of that Simon's character is like scared of like becoming part of the system. So I think sort of it was like, you know, a lot of those like sci-fi films that I grew up with where, you know, kind of aliens or monsters would represent some kind of like sort of like, you know, creeping kind of fear. And, you know, back in the 50s, it would usually be about like, you know, communism or like sort of like alien invaders. But this, it's like literally like their fear of like growing up and becoming like a responsible adult.
What did he say, Sam? Newton Haven has been taken over by robots. Did you believe him?
We should head back to London. A, we're all drunk. B, we've got blood on our hands. It's more like ink. We've got ink on our hands.
How have you and Simon evolved as writers and you personally as a director since the first one?
I don't know really. I mean, I think sort of like everything that I've done, like I'm always like striving to do kind of better and, you know, learning new techniques. And so you're always like learning like sort of with each film, or like, you know, you write something into the movie which is going to be a new challenge. So I think it's just trying to sort of challenge yourself, like as a director at least. In terms of writing, I think sort of like, I think maybe me and Simon sort of like, this is probably our like most, like if we have grown up at all, is we probably we're a lot more punctual on this one. Like we worked, because Simon's like a new father and stuff, so we sort of like worked a proper like 9 to 5 day. We worked at an office and we sat opposite each other and we like sort of didn't come out of the office until it was done, you know?
Were you able to focus?
Yeah, absolutely. We basically just like, the key is that sort of like, you've got to like sort of, you've got to use that freedom app, you've got to get off the internet.
Right. And which one of the characters would you say you relate with most?
I think I probably like sort of, there's elements of me in all of them, to be honest. I think that Simon would say the same, is that like, I think all of the 5 guys, there are elements of myself in there in terms of like sort of, a lot of the film is based on like personal experience and anecdotes, you know, everything except the robots. But you know, there's lots of things that are in the movie that are from real experience, whether it's like going out with a friend's sister, or like meeting a kind of like a teacher at school in a bar, or like the sort of the scene with the school bully. Like, so there's so many of those like things that are like just actually happened,
right.
And he like formulates into this, you know, like into this story.
Do you guys have plans to work together again?
Oh, we'd love to work together again. There are no like sort of firm plans, and you know, like these films we definitely see as like a sort of like as a trilogy. So I hope we would reunite in the future.
And I know you're not allowed to really talk about it, but what point are you at with Ant-Man?
I was starting October.
What the hell is that? We are going to get to the world's end if it kills us. Oh no!